Good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Ryan Breton here from Storm Center with an afternoon update on the nor'easter that's really strengthening, and things are starting to change after rain this morning. Many of us seeing a transition over to heavy, wet snow right now. Let's take a look at the maps. We'll show you the big picture, and you can see just on this animation how the storm has been strengthening as we've gone through the morning. There is a ton of heavy precipitation out there, and that's what's going to be moving into the state here through the afternoon. You see it right there. This is a 6-hour loop, and the storm is really starting to intensify right now. A really cool view of it on the visible satellite. There was almost an eye-like feature for a little while this morning, and that is all lifting north. Right now, the center of low pressure is to the south of Cape Cod. That's going to be working into the Gulf of Maine and putting us squarely in the heavy precipitation for much of the afternoon. You can see that transition from heavy rain to heavy wet snow happening right now in much of southern New England, and now starting to happen in Maine as well. You can see the radar here in the last hour or so showing in the Portland area that transition happening. In Lewiston, it's now snowing. In much of York County, it's snowing. Now, it is still rain in much of the mid-coast and down east Maine. And these places will see rain for much of the afternoon. The rain-snow line really is going to set up somewhere in this area here, basically from Portland west and north, from about Wiscasset west and north, and maybe Belfast north. The down east coastline is going to see mostly rain for the afternoon, and it will be heavy rain at that. Look at the temperatures. Even with a transition to snow, we are still a little bit above the freezing mark, so it will be a heavy, wet snow, and that's one of the concerns here this afternoon. That will start to coat the tree limbs and power lines, and power outages are going to be a problem tonight. So here's the map at 2 o'clock. A lot of us dealing with snow. Snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour, possible in parts of western Maine at that point, and that continues into this evening too. Look at this at 4 o'clock. Many of us seeing snow, perhaps right along the immediate coastline in southern Maine. It's still mixing at times, but I really think that at 4 o'clock, for many of us, it's getting quite nasty with heavy snow, temperatures in the lower 30s. So even if it's not exactly below freezing, the roads will still be very slippery during that time, and likely still rain for the down east coast. You see Bar Harbor and Rockland at 4 o'clock, likely dealing with rain, and that will be the situation into the evening hours there. Still at 6 o'clock, heavy snow for many of us, and that continues into tonight. The map at 8 o'clock, same idea. So it is going to become quite difficult for travel during the late afternoon and early evening. Here's 10 o'clock, and at that point, that rain snow line may start to move down toward down east a little bit. It may be a photo finish, so to speak, with maybe a little bit of snow mixing in at the tail end of this thing down east. Now, after midnight, the precip will start to lighten up a little bit, so I think the bulk of the accumulation in the Portland area, in Lewiston, and in Augusta is over just after midnight, but we'll keep getting accumulation in Bangor, and then your chance for accumulation in down east actually comes early tomorrow morning. But after that, it's really just some snow showers and flurries across the north. The rest of us will see clearing into tomorrow afternoon. No changes with the snowfall map. If anything, our confidence is going up that this is going to be a sizable snowfall, 10 to 15 inches inland from interior York County straight up through the Lakes region, west and north of Lewiston, Auburn, including Rumford and Farmington. 5 to 10 inches of snow for the coast of York County, coastal Cumberland County into Brunswick. Lewiston and Augusta as well. Likely 2 to 5 inches around Wiscasset, but I mean, this is going to be a razor thin difference. There may be as little as 2 right on the peninsulas, but perhaps more than 5 once you get around Wiscasset, and there will be a quick build-up inland where we've already seen that changeover to snow happen in many places. Here's the eastern and northern Maine map. You can see not much down east where we stay largely rain, but there is a quick build-up. 2 to 5 inches for Belfast, 2 to 5 inches for Ellsworth, and then 5 to 10 inches for the greater Bangor area, with more than 10 inches and perhaps up to 15 to the north of Bangor. Now, it wouldn't shock me if a couple of places in that 10 to 15 inch zone get even more than that. 18, 20 inches certainly on the table here. And unfortunately, all things considered, power outages are going to be on the table tonight. That heavy wet snow weighing down the trees and wires. Any place that gets more than about 6 inches of snow should be on guard for a power outage. Here's a look at the wind right now, starting to get some gusts up to 30 miles per hour in Rockland. And as we go through tonight, potential is there for gusts in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range. And with that heavy wet snow on the trees and power lines, therein lies a concern for some outages. So the 7-day forecast shows beyond this, tomorrow the weather does improve. We have clearing in southern and western Maine. Snow will continue, especially during the first half of the day in northern and eastern Maine. And after this, actually a fairly chilly start to the week compared to where we've been recently. High temperatures in the 30s, lows in the teens early next week. And with that, the snow won't be going too far, at least here in the short term. That's the update for now on our website. Updates will continue through the afternoon. Now we're going to answer some of your questions here on our live stream. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Over the last few hours since we last spoke at 9 o'clock, things have changed in a pretty substantial way. More and more of us starting to see some snow mixing in. Here's a look at the radar right now, and this is actually doing a pretty good job. This is an algorithm trying to estimate it. But overall, the idea is right, that many of us in the Portland area are seeing this changeover from rain to snow happening right now. And it's not a perfectly even changeover. It depends on two things, elevation and also the intensity of the precipitation. So it may go back and forth for a little while before more completely changing over later on this afternoon. But you can see these brighter colors here, all indicating some of that heavier precip starting to move in. I saw a video that was submitted through the Near Me section of our app from Bowdoin, already getting some snow accumulation there on the ground. I heard from Mallory Brook in Norway, and it's starting to come down there as well. And I heard from our weather watcher out in Newfield that it's really starting to come down there too right now. And when this changeover happens, you will see these big fat flakes. We call them aggregates. Basically what happens is when it's not that cold and it's snowing, these flakes clump together and they form these big, almost like waffle-sized snowflakes. So you'll see those come down for quite a while this afternoon, and those are the ones that will start to, coat the tree limbs and power lines and things like that. We have just rain, though, through eastern Maine, and it will continue to be just rain for much of the storm east and south of Ellsworth. And even in the greater Bangor area, it's going to be a little bit of a battle for the next several hours between rain and snowfall. So I'm just going to scroll through some of your comments. Karen in Oakland says it's changing over. Adriana says it looks like it's raining in Biddeford. Yeah, we'll go into Biddeford here. And the rain snow line is right around Biddeford right now. Catherine says it's raining in Freiburg, but starting to see some flakes mix in. Yeah, actually the radar doing a pretty good job in that regard. You can see that right there. Snow and a rain mix in Yarmouth. Thanks to Robert for that. Elliott still raining, but snowing in North Berwick. Okay. Snow flipped over in Oakland at 11:22. Heavy wet snow in Naples. All right. Looks like the radar is matching up with that pretty well too. Heavy wet snow in Leamington. There you go. You see it right there. Rain in Bucksport. Mostly rain with a few flakes in Kennebunkport. Sounds right. Heavy snow in Paris. And John actually says a few cars are off the road up there. Yeah, that's not a great sign. I think this can be a little bit deceiving because it is wet snow. So some people think that's slushy, but actually in reality, it can be really slippery. It's not icy per se, but it's just slick. And that's how the roads are going to be for a lot of the afternoon. And I think this evening travel is going to be quite difficult in a lot of southern and central Maine. Raining in Dover Foxcroft. It'll take a little while for that to change over. Thanks, Sherry. Appreciate the comment. Huge snowflakes in Topsom. Yeah, those are those aggregates I was talking about, so to speak. I want to show you southern New England because what's happening there is kind of an indication of things to come for us. I'll bring this back a couple hours, and notice how 3 hours ago there was really just snow in the high elevations, and now look at it. It's spread a lot more into the lower elevations. I heard from my family in southern New Hampshire, and they've seen a change over to snow there. So that's a sign of things to come, even in the lower elevations here in Maine. You can see going back 3 hours, a lot of us were dealing with rain, but now that change over to snow is really starting to happen, and it will continue to be a process over the next couple of hours. Let's do the timeline. A lot of you asking, when will it snow? When will the changeover happen? You know, it's really hard to give a precise time in this storm because you can see it by the radar there. It's just kind of a mess, frankly. But we'll go through this hour by hour. It does a pretty good job reflecting what we're seeing. And that is by 2 o'clock, the rain snow line is going to be somewhere between Bangor and Ellsworth. You know, I can't say if Bangor is definitely snow at 2 o'clock. I think you probably are. But Ellsworth is probably rain. Rockland's probably rain. Wiscasset's right on the line. Portland's probably snow. Sanford, Lewiston, Augusta, Waterville all snow at 2 o'clock. That's the thinking right now, at least. But you can see how tight, you know, this rain snow line is. It's literally about 6 miles. And that's the difference between very heavy snow and just pouring rain. And that's the way this storm is going to be. So there will be surprises, but I think we have a pretty good handle on things as it stands. This is 4 o'clock, same idea. 6 o'clock, not much movement of that rain snow line. It's still rain from Rockland into Penobscot Bay and down east. But at this point, it's really heavy snow across the interior and even in the Portland area. And that continues into tonight. But notice the temperatures. It's 33, 34. That's why it's going to be a wet snow that weighs down the tree limbs and power lines. Not what you want to see, and certainly the power crews should be ready for the potential for outages for sure. Terry says some slush flakes mixed in with the rain in Prospect near Belfast. Yeah, actually, I ran an errand like an hour and a half ago, and we had the same thing in Portland where the flakes were like splashing on the my windshield. So again, we'll just run through the snowfall forecast one more time here. There really are no changes. I feel pretty good about 5 to 10 inches for the Portland area, 10 to 15 as you go just inland. Mid-coast more like 2 to 5. And then that ramp up exists in eastern Maine too, from 5 to 10 in the Bangor area to 10 to 15 north of there. Someone was asking me, what about Old Town? Are we in 5 to 10 or 10 to 15? I got to be honest, it's kind of hard to say. I think I lean 10 to 15 in Old Town, but you know, this is a tricky one where the rain snow line will really make all the difference. And when you get on the cold side of the storm and you're in the snow this afternoon, it'll be snowing 1 to 2 inches per hour as we get into that, say, 3 to 8, 9, 10 p.m. time frame. Let's see, did I forget anything? Covered the outages, covered the snow, one thing I do want to mention is that up in the mountains, it won't be as heavy and wet. So that's good. Power outage risk a little lower up in the mountains, but even there's still a risk. This is a model projection for how many power outages could happen or where the risk is highest. You can see just about all of us have the risk, although it does lower some once you get into northern Maine. Especially north of the mountains where it's a little bit colder and it won't be such a wet and heavy snow. Before we go, let's scan through some of the webcams. I haven't loaded these up, so I don't know completely what they look like. We'll start in Bristol. Yeah, it's rain there at Pemaquid Point. No surprise there. We'll go to Belfast. Let's see here. It looks like rain there, although we got a couple of reports of some wet flakes mixing in. This is outside our station in Portland, and it's still largely rain here on the peninsula. How about Windham? This one should be interesting to see, although it's over Little Sebago Lake. Yeah, I'd wager to say there's some snowfall in there, and actually if you look at the trees, you can see there are some blobs, so it's snowing there in Windham. My guess is up on Mount A in York, it's starting to change over. It looks pretty wet there right now. Sunday River, this is just across. It looks like we've changed to snow there. How about this? Look at this one. Standish. Already a covering there at St. Joe's. And that's right on Sebago Lake. Let's see, what else do we have here? Damariscotta. Just rain there. And Damariscotta, it'll probably be rain for much of the afternoon. I think a place like that will hold on to the rain a little while longer. Let's see, we'll do Kennebunkport. I think it's all rain there right now, at least on the water's edge. Yeah, it looks like it to me. And Milo, is anything happening in Milo yet? Looks like rain in Milo. It'll take a little while for Milo to switch. This one should be good. This is Leeds. Let's see. Yeah, we've got snow falling in Leeds. Actually, that's a snow stake that Matt, our weather watcher in Leeds, who runs these webcams, has out. I think there's another webcam in Leeds too. Oh, it's the same one. This one. Here we go. Yeah, you can see the snow flying there too. And I've got the Augusta Airport too. Sometimes this camera doesn't update, so we'll see. Yeah, it's updating. We've got snow flying there as well. So the bottom line is most of us are starting to see this changeover from rain to wet snowflakes. The bulk of the storm is still in that 2 p.m. to midnight time frame. The bottom line also is that down East Maine, this is mainly rain. You know, you're going to have to be in southern Maine and central Maine or in the greater Bangor area really to get snow during the day today. It'll take until very late tonight for coastal Hancock and Washington counties to see any type of changeover. So if you happen to miss any of this, you can scroll back and see the forecast. You can also go to our website and mobile app. I'm going to update the blog that's on the homepage of our site in just a minute with all the latest information. And I'm going to hand things off in a little while to Mike Slifer and Jess Conley. They will have you covered tonight. Storm Center will be on the air and online at 6 o'clock, and you may see them before that too. So be sure to tune in for that. And then I'll see you tomorrow morning. Make sure if you can, send us reports. You can do that on social media, but you can also do it using the Near Me section of our app. That's a great way to send us any pictures or video. Remember, if you do that, hold your phone the horizontal way so it looks full and nice on a TV screen. So we'll see. I will see you in the morning, but Jess and Mike will see you later on this afternoon. Be safe, everybody. Again, we're in for a little bit of a wild afternoon and evening, and unfortunately, I do think power outages are going to be happening again tonight. So charge up those devices. I'm going to be doing the same. We'll talk again tomorrow. Have a good one.